Hi! So today we're going to be discussing the lowercase and why it's infiltrated music. What happened to title casing? What's the reason for this shift and why now? All sorts of questions having to do with this artistic choice that a good amount of artists decided to use in the 2020s and 2010s. Before we get into that, if you like topics like this and sit down analytical videos about music, consider subscribing. I post every Thursday, and I do have a Substack where I post the script that I read from these videos if you would rather have written content. Anyway, let's get back to it. Let's start with why we type like this in general. In a few different articles, there seems to be a common ground that this sort of typing started when the first cell phones came out and texting was difficult to do with the buttons. Making something capital or using correct grammar was a hassle. Now that it's easy to type in correct sentence structures and grammar because of autocorrect and the keyboards themselves, it seems like more of a choice when someone goes to turn off auto caps in their settings. I did succumb to this when I was in high school, but I turned it back on because I sent a lot of emails from my phone, which is also a point as to why lowercase is becoming a thing. It is a type of manufactured authenticity. It creates this laid back and casual tone to your text. Since typical sentence casing is normally used in a workplace or a school, using all lowercase is seen as the opposite of formal and professional. But this choice that people make to turn off their auto caps makes their words seem less intimidating. So it's more relatable and more like a stream of consciousness, which is why tweets are usually seen in all lowercase, because it's supposed to feel like it's straight from the dome. It's supposed to feel like just a thought out of your mind where you didn't take the effort to make sure your capitals were correct and your grammar was correct, even though it isn't as effortless as it looks. Like, there is an effort in turning off the setting for auto caps. But before cell phones, there was a poet named Edward Estlin Cummings, more widely known as E.E. Cummings, in all lowercase letters. He's known to have first popularized the use of all lowercase letters in a name and in his poetry in general. Not only did he just use all lowercase, but he also used unconventional grammar in his poems. Although he might not have actually been the one to make this a part of his poetry and his own name, we can't deny the cultural impact this had on poetry and art in general. In the article titled "The Surprising Reasons We Turn Off Auto Caps and Embrace the Lowercase," Jesse Joho writes, "On the internet, people have stopped caring about these non-functional rules of grammar and started using caps for other reasons," says Fontaine. Instead, caps are now used to mark words as special, but to make the words more default neutral or unmarked, lowercase is used. So this makes sense when all uppercase is used to scream their text at its recipient when they're excited or angry. This also makes sense artistically when we move on to talk about song names and artist names and album names. The way some artists use casing and grammar is more so an extension of their art rather than just the name of their art. The most well-known and earliest mainstream users of this style of song titling are Ariana Grande and Billie Eilish. Ariana Grande with Sweetener in 2018 and Billie Eilish with Don't Smile at Me in 2017. Ever since Sweetener, all of Ariana Grande's discography has been in all lowercase, except for select proper nouns. For example, Hampstead, God is a Woman, R.E.M., and Saturn Returns Interlude, excluding her song called Pete Davidson, which, sorry about the breakup, but that song, so underrated. Now, Ariana Grande using conventional casing for proper nouns makes a lot of sense, but the decision to make Pete Davidson's name in all lowercase while there are other songs on that album that use conventional casing for proper nouns is an interesting one. This seems like a choice that was made artistically. It could be because it's his name, so if it was looked up online, anything about Pete Davidson, the comedian, would be in conventional casing because it's his name, but the song would come up in lowercase, and then it would be more recognized as the song title rather than the person. It could also be because in Sweetener, Ariana Grande is now declaring that her new default is lowercase. It could signify that Pete Davidson is now her default person. And I don't know, I'm just putting ideas out there, and the fact that we can have these sort of analytical discussions just about song titling and the choices that artists make based on the casing of their song titling is a part of music that I didn't think would be that important. In 2020, Taylor Swift joined the party with her albums Evermore and Folklore. Back in 2017, she did title her album in all lowercase with Reputation, even though all the songs are still in conventional casing. It was her getting raw with her audience. She's showing that album and era was her accepting that her reputation was bad and claiming it for her own art. So if she wanted it to seem stripped down and raw and authentic, of course she would make the title of the album in all lowercase. Charli XCX is of course the artist of Brat. The word brat is only in all lowercase on the album cover, not the album title, nor the track titles. The song titles use sentence casing, which means that the first letter is capitalized, but the rest of the title is in lowercase, as if it were a full sentence. Before the enormity of Brat, Charli XCX released the album How I'm Feeling Now in 2020, containing songs completely in lowercase, even the personal pronoun I. Also in Jess Joho's article, The Surprising Reasons We Turn Off Auto Caps and Embrace the Lowercase, Jess Joho interviews media scholar Dana Michelle Boyd, who legally changed her name to all lowercase. Joho writes that she also questions the egotism of how English capitalizes the I pronoun rather than the you, we, or they. This takes us into our other examples that use this personal pronoun I as lowercase a lot. I Hate You, I Love You featuring Olivia O'Brien by Nash. Come Through, Always I'll Care, and More by Jeremy Zucker. Fuck I'm Lonely from the album How I'm Feeling by Lauv. Anything, Not a Lot, Just Forever, and More by Adrian Lenker. Hope is a Dangerous Thing for a Woman Like Me to Have, But I Have It by Lana Del Rey. Make You Mine, Yes Baby, and More from the album Lock It by Madison Beer. Luther with SZA, TV Off featuring Lefty Gunplay, and More from the album GNX by Kendrick Lamar. Because of this new way of writing song titles and album titles, there's another level of which music analysts can analyze music. A lot of ways that lowercase is being used makes me think a little more about what the music means. So here are some interesting uses. Billie Eilish's debut album, titled When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?, ironically has a track list in all lowercase, while the album title is in all caps. For example, Bad Guy is in all lowercase. Her next album, Happier Than Ever, mostly contains proper title case, like the album. For example, Therefore I Am, but there are instances where she does all caps, like Goldwing or NDA. And there is a song called My Future that is in all lowercase, but mostly it's in conventional title casing. Her next album, Hit Me Hard and Soft, has a track list full of all uppercase, for example, Birds of a Feather, and this goes along with the all caps title. I would say this seems like an intentional artistic formatting choice to show Billie Eilish's growth and change throughout the years. Starting in 2022, Tate McCrae seems to do the same thing with her debut album, I Used to Think I Could Fly, having all lowercase song titles. For example, She's All I Wanna Be. Her next album, Think Later, released in 2023, has all lowercase song titles with an all caps album title. For example, the song Greedy. After this, in 2025, she released So Close to What, with titles in sentence case, for example, Sports Car, and the album title in conventional title casing. Also in 2025, she releases the deluxe version of this album titled So Close to What, in all caps followed by 3 question marks, with the new songs in the deluxe album being in all caps just like the newly formatted album title. For example, Tit for Tat. This could be the same artistic choice or vision that Billie Eilish has with her music and her song titles because of the way that each album coming out shows a different type of casing that might signify the changes in the music and the changes in the artists themselves. Nessa Barrett seems to be starting to do this as well. Her debut album, titled Young Forever, came out in 2022, and it features songs in all lowercase such as Die First. Then in 2024, she released the album Aftercare with songs in all uppercase to go with the all uppercase album title, for example, Passenger Princess. Her latest 2026 single is called Stay With Me, and it's using conventional title casing, which is maybe the start to a fully title cased track list. All of Olivia Rodrigo's songs up to this point have been in all lowercase letters, such as Driver's License and Get Him Back. But her 2 albums, Sour and Guts, are both formatted in all caps. Willow, an artist who uses unconventional casing in her name and also uses unconventional casing in her song titles, especially in Transparent Soul, where it's all lowercase and spaced out lettering, something I've never seen before. If you have examples of this, leave them in the comments, because I can't find anything else that does this, but I'm sure there is something. And then there are a few instances of mixed casing albums, like Sabrina Carpenter's Emails I Can't Send, where the album title, Emails I Can't Send, is in all lowercase. But some songs are in sentence casing, some songs are in title casing, some songs are in all lowercase. X also does this. He has songs in all lowercase, he has songs in regular title casing, songs in all uppercase. He uses a lot of symbols on the keyboard, like $signs and hashtags. The way that X titled his songs was very artistic, and all of the choices he made had to do with the overall composition of the song, so it bled out in the titling process. This isn't supposed to be an analysis of what the artistic vision of these artists were when they titled their songs and albums, but it's just to show there is another piece of the art that we can't overlook when we're analyzing songs and albums. This trend of lowercase titling seems to have bled out into artist names as well, like Somber, Girl in Red, Black Bear, Benny Blanco, Boy Genius, Biba Doobie, MXM Toon, and MGK. MGK actually changed his artist name from Machine Gun Kelly with a conventional title casing to MGK in all lowercase. The reason he changed that up was probably having to do with the genre switch that his music was going through when he changed from being a rapper to being a punk artist. And it might have been to make it more clear to his audience that this was going to be the type of music that he's producing now. In conclusion, I think that there's a lot of reasons why we text like this and type like this online, but the reasons why it's bleeding into pop music might be more because it's giving artists the freedom to title the songs the way that they think that they should be portrayed before someone even listens to the music. And I think that the way we should respond to this new kind of choice that musicians are making in titling their works is to understand why certain casing goes with some music and why others would go with other music. Or look at one artist in particular and see their evolution of titling their songs and where it changes and where it stays the same, and how the music sounds when it's titled one way and when it's titled a different way. I think that this sort of style of typing is coming into pop music culture because of our obsession with authenticity, or having celebrities look like they're being authentic. Because lowercase lettering now seems more authentic and laid back, that might be the marketing strategy for these artists' albums, because they want to seem like their music is authentic, whatever that's supposed to mean. I feel like this doesn't need to be said, but authenticity has nothing to do with the way that someone types or the way that someone titles their piece of art. But in this digital age, our choices that we make with the technology that we have mean a lot to people on the internet. There's a lot of theories that could come from this breakdown, but I mainly wanted this video to show what was happening and maybe why it was happening, and make a new topic for music analysts to talk about. The reason artists do it is a deliberate choice, so it should be thought of as an extension of the music that they're making. It should be analyzed in the same breath as the music itself. Anyway, that's all that I have, and if you have any other examples of artists or song names or album names in all lowercase or in interesting textual styling, feel free to leave them in the comments. I hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with another one next Thursday. Bye!